always thought I was normal, until the day I realized I wasn't. It started with the whispers. At first, I thought they were just in my head. I'd be sitting in class or walking home, and I'd hear something faint, like voices, but not words, a low, droning murmur that never went away. It got worse at night. One time, I woke up gasping for air, my ears ringing. My body was hot, like I was burning from the inside out. My veins felt like they were buzzing. And then the lights in my room exploded. That was the first time I realized something was wrong with me. I was walking home from school when I saw it for the first time. A shadowy figure crouched near a bus stop, staring at an old man sitting on the bench. At first, I thought it was just some creep. Then I noticed no one else saw it. A woman walked past it without even flinching. A guy on his phone stepped right through its arm like it wasn't there. I stopped in my tracks, and that's when it turned toward me. It didn't have eyes, but I knew it was looking at me. A deep, guttural clicking noise filled my ears. My heartbeat spiked. Then it moved. It didn't walk. It twitched forward, jolting toward the old man in quick, unnatural bursts. The moment it touched him, he stopped breathing. Something inside me reacted. I don't remember moving. 1 second I was standing there, frozen. The next, my hand was raised. And something rushed out of me. A shock wave of energy, invisible but real, erupted from my chest and slammed into the creature. It shattered, not exploded, not bled. It disintegrated like something that was never supposed to exist in the first place. The old man took a breath. His face snapped up in shock, like he had just come back to life. He blinked in confusion, then looked right past me, like I wasn't even there. I stood there, my hands shaking. And then my phone buzzed. I pulled my phone from my pocket. A new message. Unknown number. We saw what you did. My heart skipped a beat. I scanned the street, the people, the cars, the buildings. Who? I didn't reply. I shoved my phone into my hoodie pocket and walked away fast. I told myself it was just a prank, someone messing with me. There was no way someone could have. Then I saw it. A black car, parked at the end of the street. And inside, a man in a suit was staring directly at me. I turned the corner, ran. By the time I got home, my head was pounding, not just a headache. It felt like something was pressing against my skull from the inside. I threw myself onto my bed, clutching my temples. My vision blurred, my ears rang. Then the whispers returned. But this time, they weren't faint. They were screaming. A violent surge of energy shot through my body, like my veins were overheating. I barely had time to react before my lamp shattered. My desk cracked down the middle. The air itself felt like it was distorting. I gasped. I could feel it, the cursed energy building inside me. It wasn't stopping. It was absorbing more and more, like a dam about to burst. My hands twitched. My muscles spasmed. I needed to let it out. I threw my arm forward, and a wave of invisible force tore through my room. The window shattered outward. My bookshelf slammed into the opposite wall. The air rippled, like the room itself was about to collapse. Then, silence. I slumped to the floor, panting, and I finally realized this isn't normal. The next morning, I woke up to another text. Unknown number. Your power is unstable. If you lose control in public again, we will find you. I sat up, my entire body going cold. This wasn't random. Someone was watching me. I didn't reply. Instead, I turned on the news. Strange energy spike detected near city center yesterday. Officials investigating unexplained incident. I turned it off. My stomach twisted. I had done that. And now, someone knew. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing the black car in my head, the man in the suit, the warning message. I tried to ignore it. Then, at 2:43 a.m., my phone buzzed. Another message. Unknown. Number. Step outside. My breath caught in my throat. A chill ran down my spine. I didn't move. A minute later, a knock at the door. Software measured. Deliberate. I didn't breathe. Then another knock. Then a third. And then, we know you're awake. 2:43 a.m. 3 knocks. Software deliberate. Then a voice. We know you're awake. I didn't move. My pulse pounded in my ears. My breath came in short, shaky bursts. My body screamed at me to run, fight, do something, anything. But I stayed frozen, gripping the edges of my blanket like a lifeline. Another knock. We don't want to hurt you. Bullshit. Slowly I slid out of bed, stepping as lightly as possible. The floor creaked under my weight, and I held my breath. The shadow beneath my door shifted slightly, like whoever was on the other side had just adjusted their stance. Then, the handle turned, locked. A second passed, then another. Then, a deep, metallic scraping sound. They were picking the lock. My mind snapped into focus. I had to move. I didn't stop to think. I grabbed my hoodie, yanked open my window, and jumped. I hit the ground harder than I expected, my ankle twisting as I rolled onto the pavement. A sharp pain shot up my leg, but I forced myself to stand. I had to get out of here. I took one step forward, and a bright spotlight flooded the yard. They were already outside. A black van, 3 men in suits, a woman holding a tablet, scanning something. One of the men stepped forward, raising a gun. We need you to come with us. I backed up, heart racing. Yeah, and if I don't? The man didn't hesitate. Then you don't leave this yard. I clenched my fists. My entire body still felt hot, like something inside me was buzzing, struggling to break free. I could feel the cursed energy building up again. My veins throbbed. My vision blurred at the edges. They noticed. The woman on the tablet looked up. Sir, his readings are... Too late. Something inside me snapped. A shock wave erupted outward, crushing the streetlight above me, sending cracks through the pavement. The man with the gun stumbled back. The woman dropped her tablet. For a moment, there was only silence. Then the leader spoke. Shoot him. I didn't think. I moved. They fired. I raised my arms on instinct. The bullets never reached me. A wall of blue-tinted energy burst outward. My own cursed energy, raw and unstable. The bullets slowed, bending off course, some completely stopping in midair before dropping to the ground. I stared. I did that. The agents hesitated. The one who had ordered my death took a slow step forward. He's adapting too fast, he muttered. We need to... I didn't let him finish. I threw my hand forward, and a pulse of pure force shot outward. The van's windshield shattered, alarms blaring. The man barely dodged in time, rolling out of the way as the blast tore through the side of the vehicle. I turned to run, and that's when I saw her. A girl, maybe a little older than me, wearing a long coat, standing at the end of the street. She was watching, but she wasn't with them. Because when she stepped forward, I felt it, the same energy inside me. She had cursed energy too. I didn't know what to do. The agents were still behind me, recovering. The girl just stood there, staring. Who the hell are you? I demanded. She tilted her head slightly. Someone who doesn't want to see you get killed. That didn't answer anything. The agents were regrouping. I had to make a choice. I could fight, I could run, or I could trust her. I gritted my teeth. Screw it. I ran toward her. She didn't move until the moment I reached her. Then she grabbed my wrist, whispered, "Hold on." And then the air ripped apart. 1 second, we were on my street. The next, we weren't. I stumbled forward, nearly falling flat on my face. My stomach lurched like I had just been yanked through a collapsing elevator. We were somewhere else now. An abandoned warehouse, lit by dim lanterns. The smell of dust and metal filled the air. My head was still spinning when the girl let go of my wrist. That, I coughed, wasn't normal. She smirked. "You'll get used to it." I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "You still haven't told me who you are?" Her expression darkened. "You can call me Ren, and if you're smart, you'll listen carefully." I didn't move. "That wasn't just the government after you," she continued. "There's something else, a special unit. They track people like us." "People like us?" Ren nodded. "Cursed energy users. We aren't supposed to exist. That's why they're trying to erase you." A sinking feeling settled in my gut. "How many of us are there?" I asked. Ren exhaled. "Not many. Most get caught before they even realize what's happening to them." I swallowed hard. "And the ones who do get caught?" She hesitated. Then she met my gaze. "They don't exist anymore." I felt cold all over. I wasn't just being hunted. I was being erased. And if I didn't figure this out fast, I'd be next. The first time I tried to control it, I nearly killed myself. Ren sat on an old crate, arms crossed, watching me struggle. "You need to release the energy constantly," she said. "If you let it build up, it'll start eating away at you." "Yeah," I grunted, clenching my fists. "You've mentioned that." I could feel it inside me, a constant buzzing beneath my skin, cursed energy flowing like boiling water, just waiting to explode. I exhaled slowly, focusing. "Just picture it like breathing," Ren continued. "In and out, controlled." Easy for her to say. She could teleport. I took a deep breath and pushed. A pulse of blue energy rippled outward. It was weaker than before, but at least I wasn't accidentally breaking anything. Ren nodded. "Better. Again." I tried again. And again. And each time, the pressure inside me barely faded. My chest ached. My hands twitched involuntarily. This wasn't normal training. This was trying not to die. That night, after my body finally gave out, Ren sat next to me on the warehouse floor. "You need to know what we're up against," she said. I groaned. "I think I got the memo when they tried to shoot me." Ren's expression darkened. "They weren't trying to kill you, not yet." I frowned. "What?" She leaned forward. "The people hunting us, they're not just the government. There's something else. A special unit created for one purpose. Eliminating people like us," I muttered. Ren nodded. "And they don't just kill, they erase. They wipe names from records, destroy evidence, make sure no one even remembers you existed." A cold chill ran down my spine. "Why?" "Because cursed energy isn't supposed to exist in this world," she said. "And if people found out, if someone like you, someone who can absorb energy, got out of control," she didn't have to finish the sentence. I already knew. I wasn't a person to them. I was a weapon, and weapons were meant to be controlled or destroyed. 3 days later, Ren took me somewhere new, a safe house. It was deep underground, hidden beneath an old subway tunnel that had been abandoned for decades. And there, chained to the wall, was another cursed energy user. At first, I thought he was dead. His body was limp, his breathing shallow. His skin looked gray, like all the life had been drained out of him. Then, his eyes snapped open. He stared directly at me. "Another one," he whispered. I stepped back. Ren walked past me. "He was caught 6 months ago. They experimented on him, tried to figure out how to control what we are." I swallowed hard. "And?" Ren didn't answer. The captive exhaled shakily. "They don't want to kill us. They want to use us, turn us into something worse." "Worse?" I repeated. He laughed weakly. "You think the government is afraid of us? They're not. They want us to be afraid of them." I clenched my fists. I already knew too much. And now, they wouldn't stop until they had me. That night, they found us. The warehouse was supposed to be hidden. No one should have been able to track us. But when Ren suddenly tensed, when she grabbed my wrist and whispered, "Run," I knew. They were here. The first explosion tore through the far wall, sending chunks of metal flying. Flashes of red targeting lasers flickered through the smoke. I saw figures in black tactical gear, faces hidden behind visors. They weren't here to negotiate. Ren vanished in an instant, teleporting to the other side of the room. I dodged left just as another bullet whizzed past my shoulder. I had no choice. I raised my hands and unleashed everything. The warehouse collapsed around me. I barely controlled the blast, just enough to push the agents back without killing them. The air was thick with static electricity, my body aching from the release. I turned to Ren. She was fighting 2 of them at once, teleporting between locations, kicking one in the ribs before disappearing again. We could win this. I focused again, gathering more cursed energy, and then the world went white. I woke up in restraints. Cold metal dug into my wrists and ankles. The room was sterile. White walls, no windows, just a single door. My head pounded. My body felt weak, like something inside me had been shut off. Then I heard it. A voice. "He's awake," a man said. Footsteps approached. A figure stepped into view, not in tactical gear, not holding a gun, a suit, clean, professional. "Welcome back," he said calmly. "We've been waiting for you." My stomach dropped. I wasn't dead. I wasn't free. I was theirs. I wasn't dead. That was the worst part. If they had just killed me, at least it would have been over. Instead, I woke up in a sterile, windowless cell, strapped to a cold metal chair, my wrists and ankles locked in steel restraints. The air smelled like disinfectant and blood. A man sat across from me. A suit, clean, professional, unshaken. He smiled. "Welcome back. We've been waiting for you." I didn't answer. My head was still foggy. My body felt wrong, like something inside me had been shut off. Then I realized I couldn't feel my cursed energy. I clenched my fists, trying to summon even a flicker of power. Nothing. The man noticed. His smile widened. "You're feeling it now, aren't you?" he said. "That emptiness, that silence. It's fascinating how dependent you've become on something you don't even understand." I glared at him. "What the hell did you do to me?" He leaned forward. "We turned it off." My breath caught in my throat. That wasn't possible. Cursed energy wasn't a machine. It wasn't something you could just switch off. Was it? I swallowed hard. Stay calm. Stay in control. "Where am I?" I asked. The man's expression didn't change. "You'll find out soon enough." Then he stood up. "Let's begin." They didn't take me to an interrogation room. They took me to a lab. A long, sterile hallway stretched ahead, lined with reinforced glass rooms. And inside those rooms, people. Some looked normal, others didn't. I saw a man curled up in the corner, his arms covered in black markings that pulsed like living veins. His hands twitched, opening and closing, as if they still remembered a power that had been stripped away. A woman sat in another room, staring at the wall, whispering to herself. Her voice didn't match her lips. It echoed like multiple voices speaking at once. But it was the last cell that made my blood run cold. A teenage boy sat inside, motionless. His skin was pale, too pale, and his eyes were pitch black, no whites left. And as we passed by, his head snapped toward me. My breath hitched. He pressed a hand to the glass. "You're next." I froze. Then the man in the suit grabbed my shoulder and shoved me forward. They strapped me to a new chair, this one in the center of a large circular room surrounded by machines. A group of scientists stood nearby, adjusting screens, checking readings. Then the man in the suit stepped into the center of the room. "Do you know why we haven't killed you yet?" he asked. I didn't answer. He smirked. "Because we're making you better." A machine hummed to life. I felt it immediately. A pressure in my skull. A sharp gnawing sensation in my gut like something was coiling around my insides. I gritted my teeth. "What the hell is this?" The man sighed. "Your power is inefficient, unstable. But that doesn't mean it's useless." The pressure increased. My bones ached, my vision blurred. They weren't just suppressing my cursed energy, they were rewiring it. I lost track of time. Days blurred together in a cycle of pain and silence. They never let me sleep too long, never let me think too much. I was an experiment. Every few hours they'd activate the machine, forcing my cursed energy to react, change, twist. And each time, I felt less like myself. Then, one day, the man in the suit returned. "Do you know why we're doing this?" he asked. I glared at him. He sighed, like he was disappointed. "Because we're trying to fix a mistake. Your existence." He walked closer. "The world doesn't know about cursed energy," he continued, "and it can't. Imagine if the public found out. People like you, walking among them. Some would worship you. Others would fear you. The world would tear itself apart, trying to control something it doesn't understand." He leaned in. "We're simply maintaining balance." My hands twitched against the restraints. "You're lying," I muttered. His smirk returned. "Am I?" Then he gestured behind him, and the glass wall behind us flickered, revealing something else. Another room, another chair, and strapped to it, Ren. I stopped breathing. Ren's head was slumped forward, her coat stained with blood. She wasn't moving. For the first time since this nightmare started, I felt something worse than fear. Rage. A heat rose inside me, a pressure stronger than anything I'd felt before. And suddenly, the restraints snapped. The entire facility trembled. Alarms blared. Lights shattered. The man in the suit stumbled back, his face finally showing real fear. I was absorbing everything, the machine, the energy, the very air itself. And this time, I wasn't holding back. The room collapsed around me. Metal twisted and snapped. The reinforced walls groaned, fractures spreading like spiderwebs across the surface. The air buzzed with raw, uncontrolled power. I was absorbing everything. The cursed energy suppressor, gone. The machines keeping me contained, crushed to dust. The agents surrounding me, thrown back like rag dolls. And at the center of it all, me. My vision blurred. My body ached like my blood was boiling inside me. My cursed energy, unstable, endless, limitless, poured out in waves. The man in the suit stumbled back for the first time, looking afraid. "You," he choked. I stepped forward. He reached for his earpiece. Containment protocol is failing, I repeat. I raised my hand, and with a single flick of my fingers, he was gone. Not dead, not destroyed, just gone, erased. I turned. Ren. She was still strapped to the chair, head slumped forward. My stomach twisted. I crossed the distance in seconds, ripping off the restraints. Ren! She groaned, eyelids fluttering, weak, barely conscious. I gritted my teeth. I could feel the energy flowing through me, unstoppable, limitless. I could fix this. I could heal her. I placed my hands on her shoulders and then stopped. Number, if I tried to transfer this much power into her, I'd rip her apart. Ren, I whispered, you have to wake up. She coughed weakly. Her eyes cracked open. Then, gunfire. I whirled around. Reinforcements. A new team of agents stormed in, heavily armed, wearing reinforced armor designed for people like us. And at the center of them, their final weapon. A man stepped forward, except he wasn't human. His skin was gray and cracked, like something inhuman had been stuffed into a human body. His eyes were pitch black, his mouth twisted into a grin. I recognized him. The boy from the glass cell. Only now, he wasn't trapped anymore. You, I breathed. The boy, no, the thing wearing his body, tilted its head. It wasn't just alive, it was laughing. Looks like you finally got out, it said. Its voice wasn't right. Multiple tones overlapping, warping, shifting. I felt it. Cursed energy, stronger than mine, denser, heavier. Ren groaned beside me. We have to leave. I didn't move. My fingers twitched. My vision flickered. Number, I wasn't running anymore. Who are you? I asked. The thing grinned wider. The same as you, a mistake. Then it moved. Faster than I could react. It was on me. It hit me first. A shockwave blasted me backward, slamming me into the far wall. Pain erupted through my ribs, my spine, my skull. Before I could even recover, it was there again, grabbing my throat, lifting me off the ground. Its fingers dug into my skin. It was stealing my cursed energy. I gasped. You... It laughed. They never told you, did they? It leaned in, voice dripping with amusement. You're not special. They've made hundreds of us. Most failed. I didn't. My vision blurred. I could feel it draining me, stripping my power away. I reached up, grabbed its wrist, and then I absorbed back. It screamed. The energy flow reversed. I wasn't just taking my power back, I was taking his too. For a brief moment I saw everything. The experiments, the failed test subjects, the years of torture. I saw the truth. The government hadn't just been hunting us, they'd been creating us. This entire time, the special unit wasn't just about erasing anomalies. They were trying to manufacture them. I clenched my fist. The boy stopped struggling. His body convulsed, then cracked apart like porcelain. Then, silence. The agents froze. I turned to them. I didn't say anything. I just raised my hand. I could end this, right here, right now. I could erase all of them, destroy the facility, wipe every trace of this nightmare from existence. Or I could walk away. Ren's voice pulled me back. We have to go. I turned. She was still weak, still barely standing, but her eyes were clear. She wasn't broken yet. I took a breath. My energy swirled, rising, trembling, waiting for me to decide. Destroy it all or disappear? I made my choice. The air cracked apart, and we were gone. They covered it up. They had to. The facility was destroyed. But the special unit, it still exists. I know they're still looking for me, for Ren, for anyone else like us. But I'm stronger now. And next time, they won't be the ones hunting. By the way, if you want to see more scary stories like this, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and sub button. It helps a lot. Until next time.